Last class we were discussing about the complexities, and we have already discussed the time complexity of an algorithm. Okay, we have discussed the time complexity, how it can affect our program. If the number of inputs are increasing, then program is taking longer time or constant time, or longer time in what terms? Is it taking linear time, or is it taking logarithmic time, or is it taking exponential time? That's what we have discussed by taking an example of sorting algorithm of n square and n log n. Then we have seen how to calculate the time complexity of the major four functions, major four operations, that is push, pop, display, and let's say replace in stack, and enqueue, dequeue, display in queue. Okay, so these all complexities we have discussed. Before that we have also discussed about the complexity of array. What is the complexity of insertion of one element, insert or deletion of one element, or display of all elements? Because when we want to display element, then we display all the elements, we don't display one element only. But when we insert, then we insert one element, we don't insert n elements at a time. Okay, so that's what we have discussed, but only in terms of time. We have not discussed in terms of space. So let's talk about the space complexity today. Space complexity is generally the second thing. The primary is still time complexity, and this is secondary thing. Why this is secondary thing? I'll tell you that. Because our computer speed can be increased up to some extent. If we are having a computer of 3 GHz, then probably by implementing much more advanced processor also, we may get 3.2 or maybe 4 GHz, but we cannot make it 30 GHz, or we cannot make it 40 GHz. We cannot go into exponential terms in case of speed. Whereas in terms of RAM, if we are having 4 GB of RAM, then we can buy one more 4 GB of RAM and we can install in our computer. We can have 8 GB of RAM. If we already have 8 GB of RAM, then we can have one more 8 GB of RAM in our system. And RAM is, let's say, 8 GB of RAM is of, let's say, 4,000 rupees or 6,000 rupees. Whereas processor is costing much more. The 3 GHz processor is of, let's say, 50,000 rupees. So the budget is also constrained. We cannot have multiple processors. Although nowadays computers have quad core processor, computers have octa core processor, but then also, can we have 100 processors in a system? Probably the cost will be so high that no one is interested to buy it. Okay, so that's why increasing the processor speed is not possible always. So that's why the time complexity is our primary concern. Whereas the increment in the memory can be done up to some extent, and that's why it is our secondary concern. So for example, let's say I have a RAM of size 8 GB. Out of this 8 GB, some space will be acquired by operating system also. There will be an operating system in each computer. For example, in my MacBook, if I have Mac OS, then it may take 2 GB or 1 GB. In Windows, it may take 1 GB, or in Linux also it may take 1 GB or 2 GB. So out of this, let's say 1 GB is already taken by operating system, and effective memory which is left, is 7 GB now. Out of these 7 GBs, now there are some processes which we don't want to run, but operating system wants to run for its execution. See, the processes which I run is probably, let's say, Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint, or let's say for playing videos I have VLC player or iMovie for video editing. So those are the processes which I am running. But there are processes which operating system wants to run for its execution. For example, if you want to create a new folder, then you just right click and select the new folder button. But how the operating system is creating that folder? For that there is a, let's say, small process inside which operating system is running. Out of this 7 GB, what space is to be given to some process and what space is given to some other process, that is decided by again operating system. For that we have to have memory management. Let's say we have hundreds of processes. Only one at a time process can be executed on a CPU. If we have n CPUs, then we can execute n processes at a time, but the number of CPUs are limited. So if we have 4 CPUs, that is quad core processor, then I can execute 4 processes at a time. And let's say we have 100 processes, then I have to select which 4 processes to execute first out of those 100. For that purpose, I need to have CPU, that process management. In hard disk, we have files, we have programs stored. Where that is stored? Because it is also not stored in sequential form. It is sometimes stored in the first part of the hard disk, then it is stored in the second part of the hard disk. So what I mean by the part is, let's say this is my hard disk, and this hard disk is divided into blocks. These are the blocks. So in these blocks, let's say first few blocks are acquired by some one file, last few blocks are acquired by some other file, in between some blocks are acquired by some other file. So they are in sequential for a file, but non-sequential for multiple files. That management has to be done, that is done by file management, and for that we need to have some processes. So in nutshell, don't put too much stress on your brain. This whole topic is a whole subject, that is operating system, and you will learn that subject in your 5th semester. Right now what I am teaching you is, in my RAM 1 GB is acquired by operating system, and there are some processes which operating system need, and for that also I need some space. And let's say for all those processes 1 GB is acquired. So what is left memory? Left memory is still then 6 GB. So when you start your computer, then also if you see the memory, how to check the memory? Just open the task manager in Windows and see how much memory is available and how much memory is utilized. So if you have 8 GB of RAM, you will see that 40% of memory is already utilized, that is already in use, and 60% memory is free for your processes. Okay, now let's say I want to declare an array of size, let's say 10 to the power 9, that is 1 billion size of array. That's what I want to declare. So let us consider that size of integer is, let's say, 4 bytes. The size of integer is, let's say, 4 bytes. So for 10 to the power 9 elements, how many bytes I require? 10 to the power 9 into 4. I told you some days, yesterday only I think, that 10 to the power 9 is equal to 2 to the power 30. And 2 to the power 30 bytes is equal to 1 GB. Okay, now if you multiply it by 4, then you will get 4 GB here. So an array of size 1 billion of integer type require 4 GB of RAM. Out of this 6 GB, if you give 4 GB to this array only, then you are left with 2 GB now. What if you want these arrays, let's say 4 arrays of this size? You need 4 arrays of this much size, but 4 arrays of this much size will take 16 GB, and you have only 6 GB left. What you will do? You cannot declare that array. What is the solution? Maybe I have to work around with it. Maybe I need to see some other algorithm for my work. If at all all four arrays are necessary, if all four arrays are necessary, then maybe I will use some other techniques which are advanced level techniques. I will teach afterwards. That is also not in your data structure syllabus. But let's say out of four arrays, if I can use only one array and then reuse that array and then reuse that array and then reuse that array 4 times, then in 4 GB only I can work. Instead of declaring 4 different arrays A1, A2, A3, A4, because that is not possible in my memory constraint, what I can do is I can reuse. So first I used A1, then when I required A2, instead of declaring A2, I have reused A1. Instead of declaring A3, I have reused A1. Instead of declaring A4, I have reused A1. So in this way, I can work in 4 GB only, and that work can be done. Now let's take an example of merge sort. There is a sorting algorithm called merge sort. The time complexity of this merge sort is, the time complexity, let's say T is equal to big O of n log n. This is the time complexity. Always in average case and in worst case or in best case, in all the cases the time complexity is n log n. Whereas the space complexity is big O n here. It is not constant. What it means is, if somebody out of you or some few students have studied merge sort, then they have seen when I try to sort an array using merge sort, what happens is I have to copy the whole array, the original array, into my temporary array. And without that temporary array, I cannot sort the original array. So if the size of the original array is 100, then I require another array of size 100. If my original size of array is 1000, I require a temporary array of size 1000. If my size of original array is n can be any number, then I need a temporary array of size n, and both the arrays are required simultaneously. I cannot reuse anyone. So in that case, if I need array of, let's say, 10 to the power 9 and I need temporary array of size 10 to the power 9, it is of 4 GB and it is also of 4 GB. Now total memory required is 8 GB but available is 6 GB. In this case, this algorithm will fail and I will get an error called segenv. This is segmentation fault. In online programming, if you do so, their memory available is not in GBs, the memory available in MBs, and that too 1 MB or 2 MB. So effectively in 1 MB, how much array I can declare? In 1 MB, I have 2 to the power 20 bytes. If I divide it by 4, that is 2 to the power 20 divided by 2 to the power 2 is equal to 2 to the power 18. 2 to the power 18 is nothing but, let's say, 10 to the power 3 into 2 to the power 8. How? Just write it down like this, and this is equivalent to 10 to the power 3 and this is same. So what is this? 256 into 1000. That is, the effective size of an array cannot be larger than this if 1 MB of RAM is available in my online programming. If it is larger, then we can obviously have more number of variables, but if it is 1 MB, then I cannot have more than 2,56,000 size of an array. Now if 1 MB is available and you try to allocate more memory, what will happen? You will get segmentation fault. That's why what we have to do is we have to optimize our program in such a manner that it requires less memory. How? Now let's say I have 10 to the power 9 size of array, and instead of using merge sort, I use quick sort. For example, I use quick sort. The time complexity of quicksort is big O of n log n in average case. In worst case it is n square, but in average case it is n log n. Now we are not talking about time complexity, since we are talking about space complexity. So space complexity of quicksort is big O of 1, that is constant. What it means is, in quicksort, if I have array of size 10 to the power 9 or array of size 10 to the power 18 or anything, I don't need extra space. Or if at all I need extra space, that is constant. That is, if I have to sort 100 numbers, then also I will take, let's say, x bytes, and if I have to solve 10 to the power 9 numbers, then also I need x bytes. And this x byte will not change based on the basis of these numbers. Whereas in merge sort, if this is 100, then I need extra 100, and if it is 10 to the power 9, I need 10 to the power 9 extra. So here it is variable, which is dependent on directly the number of inputs. That's why it came big of n. Whereas in quicksort, it is always constant. That's why it came big of 1, that is constant. So what happens in quicksort, if now you want to sort 10 to the power 9 numbers, you still need 4 GB of array. You don't need extra space for it. I am ignoring the constant space because it is not dependent on size of the input. That's why we have written constant. Constant can be 100 bytes, 200 bytes or 1 GB also. But it is constant. So if anybody of you have solved quicksort program, then they have realized it. We have used I also there, index for looping. We also have used pivot element there for storing the pivot element. We have also used high, low, mid. These all variables were used, and these all variables are same when we have 100 size of array, or we have 1000 size of array, or we have any number of size of array. So if number of variables are not changing, then it is constant. Okay, why we are discussing space complexity is, in stack, if we are doing, let's say, push, then do I have to use any extra space? Probably I don't have to use any extra space. In pop, if I have to pop an element, do I have to use extra space? I have used only one temporary variable that time. In pop, I have only used one temporary variable. Even if I want to do pop 100 times, then also I will use only one temporary variable. So that means in push and pop both, the space complexity is big O 1. Whereas if I try to pop, let's say, 100 elements simultaneously, if I want to pop 100 elements simultaneously, then I have to store 100 elements which I have popped. For that I need 100 numbers array to store one element on each place. Now if I pop 1000 elements, then what will happen? I have to store those 1000 elements in 1000 of array. Now the size of array is not constant. It is dependent on how many numbers I want to pop simultaneously, not one after the other. If I am doing one after the other, then what is happening? I can reuse temp. Whereas if I am doing simultaneously and passing those numbers which are popped at one go, then I have to store all the numbers. So if I have to pop n numbers, then how many space complexity will become? I have to pop n numbers, then I have to store n numbers, and for storing n numbers I need size of array for n, and then the space complexity will become big of n. Okay, so this is space complexity. We will talk about space complexity and time complexity in each case, in each data structure, when and wherever we will use. Now let's compare the stack queue, let's say stack queue, and let's say here I am writing stack this is Q. Let's say this is insertion, this is deletion, or for stack it will become push or pop. For Q it will become NQ and DQ. For display we need to display all the elements. We have already talked about the time complexity. If we are implementing using array, then insertion and deletion both were taking big of 1. But if we have to print n elements, then we have to run a loop for n times, and that n is dependent on how many elements I have to display. So that's why it becomes big of n. But in space complexity, what should I write? In space complexity, if I want to have a stack of n elements, for storing n elements, the size of stack will be n. But for insertion, what is the space complexity? It will be big O of 1. Because if I want to insert one element, then it is not taking any extra space. For deletion of one element, the space complexity is big O of 1. For display, am I using any extra space? No, I am just printing it. That's why I am not using any extra space. For display also, it becomes big O of 1. But for storing the stack or queue, I need space of n size always. But this n size, remember that. What I am telling you is important now. Remember that. This n size is the original array. This is original array. Do I have used extra space? I am talking about extra space here. Space complexity is about extra space, not the original array. So this n array was original. For maintaining stack of size n, do I need extra space? No. For maintaining a queue of size n, do I need extra space? No. So that's why it is not big O of n. It will be big O of 1 only, because for maintaining a stack of size n or for maintaining a queue of size n, I am not going to use any extra space. The space which I am using was only the original one. If I am using extra, then I have to probably use the space, and then space complexity will become big O of n or n log n or something else. Okay? Generally, most of the algorithms either use constant space or they require big O of n space complexity. Generally, the algorithms do not require n log n space. So, space complexity generally doesn't go in log n. But sometimes it happens that space complexity become n square. Why it become n square? Because if I have to use the matrix, matrix is n cross n. So, n is the size of row and there are n number of columns, so that's why it become n into n, which is n square. So most of the dynamic programming approaches have space complexity of n square. Most of the dynamic programming approaches have n square time complexity. Not all, but most. I am not saying all, because sometimes it have n also. But in dynamic programming approach, we never find space complexity as big O 1. That is constant. Constant space complexity is not available in dynamic approaches. So I am not talking about dynamic approaches here. If somebody know it, that is good. If doesn't know, then it is also not a problem, because dynamic programming is not in our syllabus right now. Although it is required to learn by each and every individual who is sitting here. We will teach you in college in your 5th semester when you have algorithm subject. Okay.